Two gentlemen that I've known for many, many years have given us a lot of service, and we're grateful for that. But the interesting thing I see is the young men over here also coming forward. It's nice to see this many joining the department at one time. I wish you guys as long of a career as these other two gentlemen had, and as distinguished as one. So again, it is a great honor to be here tonight to bring these men into the department and say salute to the ones that are leaving us. Thank you.
The fire service is rich in tradition. My second day on the job here, one of the members came up to me and welcomed me. He said these words to me: "Welcome to the engine house." And I knew this man, better known as Safety Dave, was full of tradition, pride, and stories. And let me tell you, he has stories. I can listen to him all day, and I love him. Dave brought me back to my candidate days, and I love that because it was an important part of my career, starting out from a volunteer firefighter, working my way up through the ranks and making a career out of it. It's tradition. From the Dalmatian, who in the 1700s, and Safety Dave, I'm not comparing you to the Dalmatian. We're used to protect horses that pulled fire wagons, and currently still in use today in the big cities as protectors of the fire trucks. To the probationary firefighter candidates on my left, who will begin a journey tonight and will one day be like the retirees who served for decades. It's fire service tradition. We have lost local firefighters recently in towns smaller than ours. Right here in Wisconsin, training and knowing your job is the most important thing. I always say, just because we're a small town doesn't mean it can't happen here. Training will make us safe as we can be, sending us all home to our families after a fire. Tonight we're fortunate to welcome 6 new probationary firefighter candidates into our fire family. These candidates will begin intense firefighter training over the next coming months before they even begin the training with our firefighters of our department. These firefighters will be mentored, molded, and trained to protect our community to the best of their ability, just like the rest of our members. First candidate, Cody Golke. Cole Golke. Candidate Matt Lang. Candidate Ethan McInnes. Candidate Zach Reinhardt. And candidate Kylan Stegall. Fire chief here, and not knowing these individuals as well as the other chief officers on my left, other than meeting them, meeting Darwin, and probably meeting you 200 times, Dan Muskie, okay, because he drives a scooter around, and I swear to God he's following me, because I didn't really know he was there. He did throw me off the hair this month. But I don't know them very well. By the stories I've heard about each one of them, and the years of service, two words come to mind for me, and that's tradition and dedication. And I know the fire district thanks you for that. I will now turn it over to Deputy Chief Sobel and Assistant Chief Lee Jett to speak about these members.
Things they've done over time. With Lieutenant Lusky, With Dan retiring, there's good and there's bad. We have one less Viking fan, but we have a
Who was that?
I think Dan is also the last retired member of a group of few who rode the area ladder down in Berlin. Scary day for everybody, and he hung on the side of the roof like a monkey, and thank God he waited to listen to be here today. Things like that stick in your mind, and there's good and there's bad and everything. A lot of us here think that Dan was always the Chiefs' favorite. We're not sure why. Previous Chiefs, he was always his buddy. I guess Chief saw a little bit. He's been here. He's following him around. He's just trying to keep up the same. And people lately have been asking about his sanity with his shorts and his moped and the winter coat and freezing weather. And I don't have much to say, Dan, except, you're going to sell soon, so you're getting ready. I served with Dan as a firefighter for a long time, and we did a lot of rescue calls together. And I was always happy when we'd get in the truck and Dan was there. He knew what to do, was a quick thinker, and was responsible for saving a lot of lives. In my opinion, if it wasn't for Dan there, people may not have got the care that they deserve. As an officer, it was always good when I was in the truck to turn around and see Dan Lusky behind me, because I knew I had a good firefighter going inside and taking care of business. A lot of time, firefighting is a team effort, and having to say this, there's times when I think that if we didn't have Dan inside, the results would have been worse. We were at a fire one time, and we were told by a lot of people that Mark and I were there, you're going to burn the roof off, you're going to burn the roof off. And we thought we were going to burn the roof off. Dan Lusky got inside, and with help from other people, with Dan's leadership, we didn't burn the roof off that house. And that was Julian's house. And that was near and dear to our hearts as one of our own. But I think Dan had a large part in that. Wrong page. Dan, your dedication and hard work will always be remembered and greatly missed by all. We thank you for your years of service and continue good luck in the future.
I didn't make any notes. I'm just going to go right off the cuff. I've known Dan for 30 plus years. Dan was on the department when I came on. I remember talking to Dan that fateful night when we rode the ladder down. And that was kind of my inspiration to join the department. Throughout all that process, getting on the department, Dan was, as Assistant Chief Jess stated, it was always a pleasure to see Dan when he went to a fire. Dan was a go-getter. He knew fire and he knew how to put out fire. And as an officer, I always felt, again, comfortable knowing that Dan was on the scene with us. We were going to have a good fight on our hands. We were going to be able to save something. Dan not only taught me, but he taught many firefighters what to do and how to do it. He was a mentor. He was a coach. He was a trainer. Most of all, Dan was himself. Dan knew what he needed to do and to teach those values to others. He did try to teach my son some values at one time, though, that I wasn't exactly happy of. And anytime my son came to the fire department, he'd ask him if he wanted to go over to the library, the public library, mind you. That's when the fire station was underneath City Hall. And he'd say, you can go over there and pull all the books off the shelf, it's okay. And I'd have to tell him that he couldn't, because that's what he thought he was able to do. And so anytime Dan saw my son, he'd tell him, go over to the library and pull some books off the shelf. So that's one mentoring he didn't do well at, but otherwise he was very good at everything that he did. Dan, you'll be truly missed. I take you as a friend, a true friend, and more so, you're a brother. We've grown together. We've seen a lot. been through a lot. And so, Dan, congratulations on your retirement, and I hope you enjoy all of your years.
Brotherhood, really enjoyed what I was doing for the 34 years. Winters I could do without it, but when the bell rang, we were out there, and I have to thank everybody that behind me, supporting me, helping me out. I could count on any and everybody, any one of you at the time. Thanks again.
As a firefighter, I was at the old Eagles Club. I used to live upstairs, and Darwin tended bar downstairs. I was just a little kid at the time. I don't even know how old I was, but not very old. And all of a sudden, one night, I was sitting up there, and the dishes started rattling in the cupboards, and I said to my mom, "What's that?" I thought it was an earthquake, you know? She said, "No, that's just Darwin going to a fire." Well, when the pager went off, the alarm went, "Get out of the way," because Darwin's going to get there and take care of business. I asked Jim what his first recollection of his dad was, and as a fire chief said, the first thing was, when the fire phone rings, pick it up and listen, don't talk. And that was kind of Darwin. He always had the gruff and the rough, and put a lot of scared a lot of us. A lot of people have come, I think Darwin's mad at me. No, that's just Darwin. And once they got to know him, he was the best guy there was. He'd give you a shirt off his back, help you any way he can. Darwin was our maintenance man for a lot of years. Countless hours he put in fixing, repairing, hobbling, whatever Darwin did to make it run. You know, if you look for something and you couldn't find it, Darwin would walk right up to it and say, "Here it is." And so we always knew if we needed something, Darwin would find it. And if it broke, he just checked it yesterday and it was fine. So what did you do? Darwin always made the pump spur. He took care of the engineer jobs at the time. And he was protective of his truck. Lieutenant Taverdi was talking to me tonight. The first fire he went on, he took a piece of equipment off the truck. Darwin didn't see it because he was busy getting water. And Paul went to put it back on after the fire. Darwin chewed him out. He says, "You don't take anything off my truck unless you ask." And Paul said, "He scared me." But then again, he said after he got to know Darwin, he was very respectful of Darwin and knew what he was doing and proud to serve with him. Yeah. Darwin, one morning, again, Darwin, he didn't mince words. I was sleeping one morning, 6 o'clock, the phone rang. "Where's the coffee pot?" Am I lying? No. And I knew who it was. But, "Who is this?" "You know who this is. Where's the coffee pot?" So I told Darwin what a coffee pot was. I don't know, somebody needed coffee at the police station, I guess. But, and then if you ever cross Darwin, he's got this iron grip. You ever had that? He hasn't done it for 5 years, but I can still feel it back here. We all know what that felt like. But it was all in good fun. Darwin, you've been a huge asset to the fire department. You've put in countless hours, time, given of yourself above and beyond the call of duty. And we really are going to miss you. And everybody here feels the same. We're glad we had the time to serve with you. And look, hopefully you'll have a great retirement. And stop down and see us once in a while. All right? Thank you.
Darwin, I didn't write any notes either for you. I'm sorry. I'm going to go off the cuff as well again. I got to know Darwin. First off, we lived across the street from one another, so we were neighbors. And then we got onto the fire department, and I got to know Darwin even better on the fire department. But one of the things that comes to mind living on Liberty Street, and I have to mention too that Dan lived a few blocks down the street, and at one time I think we had 5 or 6 firefighters living on Liberty Street, so when the fire call did come in, it was a little chaotic going down the street sometimes. But the story I have to tell about Darwin is that him and his wife Carol did some don't know what you want to call it, but they were instigators in some things in getting my wife and I together. They sent their daughter over to invite my future wife to the house, and they invited me to the house. I believe it was around Easter time. Mother's Day. I was
When's your wedding anniversary?
But they were instrumental in getting us, having us meet for the first time. And actually, my wife and I, at the time, we were neighbors as well. And so we kept everything in the neighborhood, I guess. As Lee said, Darwin would give the shirt off his back, and this again is an instance where Darwin, had to help out, so he helped me out. So thank you, Darwin. 29 years, yes. But as Lee said, Darwin was the pump guru, as we would call him, I guess. He knew how to pump water and to get water to a fire, and he knew if you had Darwin on the truck that you were going to get water. Darwin had his own way of training and telling people how to do things, but by gosh, he could tell you and get you to pump water. And I learned how to run an engine from Darwin. So I have to thank Darwin for everything that I've learned as well as far as pumping water. You did a fantastic job. And you too have taught a lot of these firefighters and officers that are here how to run the engines and how to run the trucks and how to keep them maintained. And you've done an excellent job, and you'll be thoroughly thanked for, as long as I can remember and stay here and say, Darwin helped us. So you've done wonderful, Darwin. That being said, these two gentlemen have a combined service of well over 70 years of experience in community service. We're going to be losing a lot of knowledge and a lot of commitment. And the new guys coming on, you've got your work cut out for you. Darwin's been on the department for 41 years. So yep. But I just want to thank you, Darwin, for all of your time and commitment to the fire department. And we all thank you very much for that. And at this time, I'd like to invite his son to step forward.
It was fun growing up, and Dad put me on the fire department. But you have to understand, my whole family is community dedicated. Besides for being on the fire department, I'm also on the ambulance crew. My mother was a fire department or a police dispatcher. We just, when anything happened, we knew what we had to do. That being said, in the middle of the night, everybody knew what they had to do whenever the pager went off. Believe me. The garage door was open and he was running out the back door before most people would even think what was going on. He will be missed on the fire department, but yes, he's here with me all the time. Thank you. Dad just wants to say it's been great working with a dedicated group of guys. I've made a lot of friends, and everyone will be missed. Thanks for all the help with the trucks and all the equipment. Stay safe.